Time to come through.
Well, we'll go ahead and start it up, man. I appreciate you showing up, and I very much appreciate you two guys doing this. And let's do what we do. All right. I'm started up. Hello, everybody. This is Jimmy Hitchcock on the Hitch and Wall show. I'm here with Marcus Wall, Bucky Brooks, and Greg Ellis. We're keeping it a buck with Bucky Brooks. And Buck's doing big time things in the NFL with the NFL Network. Greg as well. He was coaching at Dallas. Are you still there, Greg?
Yeah, I'm not going to be there next year. It doesn't look like. So we seeing what's going to happen next.
Okay. Well, we know you do big things. We know you in the movie industry and things like that, and you've been doing big things for a long time. All right.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Went into the Hall of Fame, North Carolina Hall of Fame, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're going to talk about some things, and I'm going to have Marcus Wall started off first with some questions to the guests here. But I appreciate you guys coming on. This is UNC Alumni Podcast, and we're going to talk about any and everything UNC. All right, go ahead, Wall.
And more for sure.
And more for sure.
All right. My first question to you guys is what and who got you involved in the game of football to start off?
Ooh, well, this will probably cover. My dad got me. I think I started playing when I was 7 years old.
Right.
The first team, I think I played for the Greenboro Packers. We looked like the Green Bay Packers. I just was running around. I remember looking at NFL TV, like NFL games on TV, and just wanting to be that. So I remember putting stickum on my socks and neck rolls and wristbands and all of that other stuff. And man, it just had me. I was just hooked on it. And there were other sports that I loved playing, but like football had me from the jump. And it was nothing like those Saturday mornings playing youth ball where you get up, man, you used to go to, I think in North Carolina, they still call it Hardee's because out here they call it Carl's Jr.
Yeah,
man, you get Jimmy probably disapproves, but you go get a sausage biscuit, get you some orange juice.
No, I'm on the port now. I'm on the port full fledged now, bro.
But do not do that on here. You're gonna get me started.
I gave up the nation to the whole.
When he had the whole campus moving.
Yeah, I gave up that. I had to. Hey, I went to visit Natron one time. He gave me a sausage biscuit. I ate that thing. that broke the whole spell, bro.
So man, we do that. We go play, man, and I just remember just falling in love with the game, and from that point on, man, I've just been a junkie.
Sweet, no doubt. Yeah. What about you, Greg?
Well, my story is a little different.
Right.
I was too big to play the Pee Wee stuff, man. You had the weight limit on it, and so I was too big, so I had to wait until I got in middle school. But my interest was just, guys in the community. It was a thing. It was a thing to do. So they was all playing, and I wanted to play, and so it was just, what the homeboys were doing, and so I joined and started playing when I was in the 7th grade.
Oh wow, you started pretty late, Greg.
Yeah, you started real late. Consider.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Good stuff. Any coach that was influential in you staying with the game, especially in the hard times, or I guess it could be personal too, because since your pops was coach as well, Buck.
I would say this, like we're taking my dad out, but I remember, and you guys are gonna laugh about this. I remember at the end of a spring game, it might have been the spring game after my sophomore year. I hurt my shoulder, but I wasn't really playing. It wasn't going there. Coach Jim Cavanaugh was giving me a hard time, always on my head. And I remember talking to my dad, talking about, I'm a transfer. And you got to remember way back then. Like no one transferred, right?
No portal.
And I remember telling him, I'm going to go tell Coach Brown, I'm going to go to East Carolina. And he was
my.
Wow. He was like, because at the time they were throwing in and whatever. He was like,
right.
I don't think that's a good idea. So at the end of the spring game, I told Coach, hey, man, Coach, I need to talk to you. And it was at that point that Coach talked to me about redshirting that third year. So that's how the conversation ended up, where I redshirted that third year, because starting my first year, we weren't good. We were 1-10. That second year, we were playing, but I had lost all my confidence. And then coach said, you know what, we can redshirt, work this thing out on the practice field. And that actually was a game changer, because what it did, it allowed me to kind of find the fun again in playing, and it allowed me to develop without the pressure of having to play. And that really was kind of like the turnaround of my football career.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the answer to that question, Walt, is very interesting, because Bucky, dad, was probably the largest reason why I played college football. So
Wow.
Bucky, dad, was my AAU basketball coach.
Wow.
And so, yeah, Bucky's dad. Yeah. And so, you in school, everybody feel like they're the next Michael Jordan back in those days. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so when that time came for me, I was senior, and got to pick which one you're gonna do. He told me, he said, Greg, they got a lot of 6'6" basketball players, and they play point guard. And let's be real, your handling skills
Right.
are not at that level. You know what I mean? You are center in high school. You can't play center in college, and you definitely, you don't stand a chance of doing that in the NBA. And so that really what steered me more towards playing football coming out of high school. And so, yeah, I know it's a little different than the question you asked, Wall, but sticking to playing the game, but that kind of got me sticking to or picking football over basketball. Now, I still played a little basketball once I got to Carolina for the junior varsity squad. Dean actually asked me to come up to play with the varsity, or at least try out with the varsity, but I decided not to do it. But yeah, so that was very interesting. I feel like, since Bucky and I are up at the same time, it was his dad that kept me on the football field.
Right.
That's awesome. That's great.
So go ahead. Go ahead, Walt.
Greg, do you remember when you all went to the Eastern Regionals? I think it was ECU.
And basketball.
Listen, I was so up on Greg, right, and who he was, that I went to the Eastern Regional game and I met him for the first time there. Initially, I walked up to him, introduced myself, and you remember that?
Yeah.
So y'all both non-deuce.
No. He's younger than me. But see, that's just how much, that's just how much I love my university.
Trey.
Non-Trey.
Yeah.
Okay.
He came in with that class of Trey.
Wow.
But, I was just always up on cats. Like if Coach Thompson or somebody tell me about a kid or something like that, I always like to check it out and see what it was. And I had an opportunity to go see him hoop.
Do you remember a guy named Jawan Took?
Yes.
Oh, he just passed, right?
Yeah.
Passed, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
man.
what I can tell you guys. Yeah, man. We were high. Well, matter of fact, we started my first year of football, middle school. He was in the 8th grade. He was a year ahead of me, and so we were on the same football team and stayed competing with each other all through high school. Matter of fact, but yeah, he did, but he just passed, man. So yeah.
Wow.
So he was on that team too. Well,
Wow, hate to hear that, man, but our prayers go out to his family for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. All right. What made you choose Carolina, right? And then what was your top 3 choices?
You want Buck? Well, Buck, you the.
Go ahead, G.
Are you saying that the elderly go first here? G, is that what you're saying?
I mean,
that's where I was raised.
I'm hearing y'all rattle off these names, 9 ace and 9 deuce and 9 Trey. I'm like,
you 8-9, right?
Yeah, 8-9. Like we didn't have a nickname. We just were in there talking about we old school. Like we didn't even. Y'all had like flashy little nicknames when y'all came in. Y'all had all kinds of swagger and all this other stuff. And we just coming in them standard issue Apex.
Y'all was laying the groundwork, Buck.
Right.
Yeah.
We put the groundwork, but they definitely came up with the nicknames afterwards.
Yeah. So for me, man, it was really, I didn't really have an option. I grew up being a Tar Heel fan. When I mean, like I was the biggest Carolina fan to the point in elementary school when the basketball team would lose, I wouldn't want to go to school the next day because I didn't want to hear nobody's lip. I was that entrenched with Carolina. And so there were other schools that recruited me. namely like Wake Forest and NC State. But, back then, boy, you had to wait to get that offer. You didn't get that offer till after your fourth game, your senior year. And so it wasn't a whole lot of like, hey, man, I'm going to switch hats and do all this.
Right.
And I just remember Coach Brown called me. It was actually before they played Wake Forest, and he offered. And I was like, all right, Coach, thanks. And I hung up the phone. And my dad was like, man, if you don't pick up that phone and say that you coming, so literally, I picked up the phone and I said, hey, Coach, I just wanted to let you know, man, I'm going to commit. And Coach told me, he said, like, we're going to respect your commitment, but do us a favor. Don't tell anybody because we're still recruiting these other wideouts. And so, like, I don't know if Felton or Juice and those guys had committed, but he just wanted to, like, and so I was like, all right, Coach. So I never told anybody, Hitch, until like the very end, until everybody. Now, that's probably some dirty pool by the coaches staff to not let everybody know.
You waited it out.
That's great.
That was waiting it out. Yeah, that was smart.
That's how my Carolina journey started.
What about you, G? Where were you? What were your choices? What were your final choices?
It came down to Carolina, of course, and Virginia, actually. I took a trip to Virginia, and I liked their tutoring that they had set up. Really was homely feeling for me.
Hold on. Excuse me, G, not to cut you off. I apologize. I know the type of man you are.
What you gonna say?
Did you say they're tutoring?
Look, see, you're trying to be.
No, listen. I actually think that is a great thing, but I can promise you, in this mind of mine, that never even crossed. Not even after I was there 4 years did I think about it.
But for real.
But that's good, though.
For me, and of course I don't remember the lady name, but
Janet.
Yeah.
No, he's talking about it. Oh, you're talking about it, Carolina?
Well, Janet at Carolina, but it was another lady at Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah, but Janet was at Carolina. Yes, I remember.
Right.
Exactly. But I felt really, comfortable with that lady they had at Virginia. And so I was really considering going there. Coach Brown worked his magic and came to the house and, talked to my mom and dad. And, it was like, this way he needed to go to school at. And so that kind of sealed us up right there.
Oh, that's dope.
And to be honest with you guys, man, it helped me that Bucky was there because, like I said, Bucky, Daddy, and I, and his Bucky brother, we played in AAU basketball together for a while. And so, we used to look up to Bucky, man. Bucky was.
How come I didn't know about
this?
Like,
AAU practice and show us up sometimes.
How come I didn't know about y'all? Y'all already had some ties. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Oh wow! I really had no idea.
Going all the way back, and my dad would get so mad because I'm that dude in their ear. Man, you need to shoot that thing, Greg. You need to shoot it. My dad over there talking about y'all got to pass or whatever. No, you got to. Hey man, and
get that thing in the Greg.
Hey, you need to be one of those 3-and-D dudes. You can shoot that thing. My dad was like, hey, man, you can't keep coming to these games. You're over here messing my team up. I'll get in the way.
That's what's up. I didn't know y'all had ties like that. That's even better. It's even better that putting these guys together. Okay, Marcus. Marcus is, you're a producer. That's okay. I got you. That's what's up. So I'm gonna ask you this question, Greg. I know that you've been into film, and I think you shot some movies down in Wilmington, right? In the Wilmington area.
I didn't shoot anything in Wilmington. Everything we shot was here in Texas. In Texas.
Okay, so you never did Wilmington. I thought you did North Carolina when they had that whole thing.
We did a production play in North Carolina.
Yes,
but we didn't do an actual film there.
Okay, so everything that you've done has been in Texas.
You
want to talk about that a little bit? You want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, yes, sure, I can. While I was in school, Wall probably gonna laugh at this too. My major was communications, and the type of communications. Wall's like, "Yep, me too." The type of communications I majored in required me to go to see a lot of plays, And so I really enjoyed it, man, and fell in love with it. I didn't think
Me
I would
too.
actually use it, but once, playing football was over for me, I kind of saw that as something that I can do. And the type of content that I like to create is really to try to help people, right?
Right.
Probably the biggest movie we've done was Carter High. And I think you guys probably heard of Carter High. It's based off of the 1988-89 high school football team here in Dallas, school called Carter. I tell people it's the other side of Friday Night Lights, if you would.
Right.
So, again, that's helping kids understanding the importance of doing things the right way. And when you get off of doing things the right way, this is what could happen to you. No matter how talented you are at playing ball, if you don't get your grades and do all that stuff, it can all be taken away from you. What's the linebacker? Armstead, Jesse. Remember Jesse Armstead? Guy from New York Giants. Yeah, he was on that high school football team. And so he was involved with us as well. We would go to different high schools, and he got a chance to share with some of the kids and all that stuff. So that's probably the biggest one we've done, Hitch.
Okay.
But I'll tell you this, you guys, since I started coaching full time, I hadn't had a chance to put this one out. But it's about mental health. People are becoming more and more aware
I was going to ask you about
mental
that
health, man.
Absolutely.
And so we got a film. It's about, and I'll just quick, 1 minute synopsis of it. This guy, he plays football, 15-year career. While he was playing, he was a straight and narrow guy. When he finished playing, though, he's married. They have one little girl, but when he finished playing football, he becomes like something totally different, right? Now, for you guys, if you see the movie, you're going to say, okay, Greg, that's your story. Because when he was in school, not in school, but when he was playing football, he was the, straight Christian guy, didn't drink, didn't go out, didn't party, didn't do none of those kind of things. But when he finished, he became opposite, started chasing the women, started going out, doing a whole bunch of uncharacteristic stuff, if you would. And so I don't want to give the whole thing away, but a lot of guys go through that, if you would. And because of that move, we actually started a nonprofit. It's called Getting My Help. So I'm going to encourage you three to download the app. It's a free app. You can go download the app and click on the resource tab when you get there. Because once you click on the resource tab, they got about 9 different mental health disorders. Click on any one, not to say you guys have that, but click on any one of those. Then you can click on the state and then the city, and it pulls up different trained professionals that could help you if you're struggling with something according to that disorder. So wherever people are at in the world, if they have the app and they go to the resource, if they're struggling with any one of those 9 categories, they can find help in their local market. So that's some of the stuff we're doing.
That's
again. The app name again.
Yeah. Getting, so Getting, Getting My Help. And you can find it, Android and Apple platforms as well. So
I mean, one day I hope you can come on. We can talk about that for the entire podcast and dig into that a little bit more.
Have to.
If you have time for us. I know you're a busy man, but if you could come on and talk about that in its entirety on another podcast, it would be great. But yes. I mean, you're doing some great things, doing some awesome things. The people that follow football Carolina, they'll be impressed to hear some of the things that you're doing. I'm impressed as well. And yes, it's a lot of people's story. It was my story. I went through some craziness when I got out of the game. So I understand that mental health thing because it took me a long time to get over the fact that I wasn't in the game anymore, because it was like the game was like my dad and my mom, you know what I'm saying? Because it kept me get my grades straight. It kept me on the straight and narrow because I wanted to play, so I couldn't get in trouble. I had to make the grade so I could play. You see what I'm saying? I had to listen to the coaches so I could play, So everything was about playing, and that whole structure broke down once I retired. And a lot of guys go through that. And a lot of guys go through that mental health challenge for years. And we don't talk about it enough, but I would like to revisit that at another time if you're able to do that.
And I'll say this in respect for him, Junior Seau, which all you three guys know him, probably know him personally. I never met Junior myself, but man, I'll tell you, man, when I found out that, you know, he ended his life, it freaking, I don't know why. I promise you, I've probably never talked to Junior in my life, but I was just so moved for a person like him to do something like that. And I really moved thinking about his kids. I don't know if he was married. And so that really inspired me to want to do that movie I just told you guys about. So respect
they
to
try to
him and his
introduce me
family,
to
man.
him. I met him once before. Great guy.
Great dude.
Guy.
Great dude.
Great
Yeah.
dude.
Great dude.
But Buck, I wanted to say this. When we were in school, like me and you, I think in workouts was always thinking about that 4-3. You know, like we was always trying to get to that 4-3, bro. Like it was something about me and you that we knew as soon as we cracked that 4-3 that they was going to be on our radar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that's so funny.
So we would be in practice and we would be going hard. And I'm talking about as far as our starts and things like that with Coach Man, we would go so hard because we wanted to crack that 4-4. Once we got through that 4-4, we got to the 4-3 level.
Yeah.
Boy. We knew it was going to be on. Talk about that a little bit. How that mentality was going there.
But let me end it. Guys, man, I was rushing to get in here. Let me step to grab my charger, okay?
Go ahead.
Keep going. I'll be right back.
Hey, great. You're a Hall of Famer. You're doing whatever you want to do.
See that? No.
You're good.
You want to do.
You know, Hitch, like it's funny that you bring that up, but I think, and I'm really happy to kind of like reconnect with you guys because one of the things that I miss, like it's one thing, like I miss the locker room, and I just miss the competitive nature that comes out of the locker room in anything. And whether it's college, like college is much different than the pros because college, those relationships are real. In pro, they can be a little bit of a facade because when guys get cut, you may never talk to them again, which is weird. But and it's funny because coaching high school ball out here in LA, I was literally just telling the team this because I ran them through, I did our old 400 conditioning test.
Oh, did you? You did it to the kids?
Hey, dog. Hey, everybody want to be great until it's time to be great.
Till it's time to be
great. It's to put in that work.
You put them down. You put them on down.
So look, they just got back from winter break. So I said, look, I'm gonna go easy on you. I'm gonna give you 3 400s. I'm gonna adjust the times. I said, but just know in a month we're gonna do the conditioning test, and you're gonna have the option. You can do 4 in 70 seconds or 3 in 65. Choose wisely. And I remember
wisely.
And I just remember with all of us and Wall being in the wide receiver room and Felton and then Hitch and Croc and all on the other side, I really believe the competitiveness that we had made everybody better. And so whether it's that 4-3, whether it's one-on-ones, whether it's the blocking drills or just kind of the key that always existed, to me, that's what college sports are about. And it's interesting to see this play out where it's now become more transactional than transformational. But man, I value those conversations that we all had in the weight room, on the field, or whatever, because ultimately competitors like to compete. And it doesn't matter if we compete who's going across the street, who's going to eat a timeout chicken, whatever
Everybody
it is.
Competing at all times.
To me, when you talk about leaving the game, the hardest thing about leaving the game at any level, whether it's college, whether it's pro, there's no competition like that. There's nothing that fills your bucket up like that. And so I get it, and I get when you talk about it, because I just saw Gladiator and Gladiator 2, and to me, that's playing ball. When you walk into a stadium, particularly on the road, and we're good, and we're able to tell them,
we know we're gonna whoop you. We know we're gonna take you down.
Yeah, I'm so glad you paid your money to come see me.
Right.
We're about to give you the like.
You're gonna be sad today, but you see me.
Yes,
You're gonna be sad today, but
yes.
you're gonna see me. That's how I felt when we played state. When I went up there, man, we hadn't beat them in so long, and we beat them for that first time. That was my junior
memory of
year.
you, Jimmy, is the Georgia Tech game. Ball rings. Ball rings.
Yes. Yes.
We're going bowling.
That's what I used to try to make them feel it. Remember me. Remember this face. Remember this face, you know.
Hey,
but
Buck.
you know what I would say about this last thing is when you got drafted, that gave me a lot of confidence.
So
it gave me a lot of confidence.
You said that because you'll say about me, and I'll say that about Thomas Smith.
Right.
Because when Smitty went in the first round,
yep.
We all, you know how we all
are.
If he going, I know I'm going. Because I used to give him working practice.
Right.
That was the conversation.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and I remember in those workouts because, and it's funny because Dog came at the end, but I remember those Tootin workouts. And doing the leveraged leg press and all of that other craziness that we were doing. 170s and just running till our tongues were dragging. But I remember using guys as measuring sticks. Like they may not know it, but like Juice running them 400s.
Right.
Yeah, dog. I'm not gonna compete with you today,
Can't
Juice.
do that.
I'll get you on these I'll get you on these short shuttles or something like that. But it was like people always talk about iron sharpening iron, but that's really what it is. The competitiveness with guys who really embrace competing but still have the love for one another. To me, that's what college is about. And that's why we can all we can reconnect after years apart and still be right back at the same spot as we were in the locker room.
Right. But you know, I'm gonna let you talk in a minute, Wall, but I'm gonna say this last thing. When I went and visited these new guys and I walked on the field, when we were playing, when I walked on that field with you guys, I could just feel everybody's energy. Like I could just feel it. I could just feel how incredibly excited you were and how much passion it was out there. But when you go out there today,
that's
man,
that competitive nature that Buck was just talking about.
Right. It was something about we came here to whoop you up. We came here to dominate you today. It's gonna be a long day for y'all. And we were talking trash to the team. I talked like NC State. I started in warm-ups and didn't stop until the end of the game, all the way till we got to the locker room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but the guys today, when I look at them and I'm seeing them on the field, they don't have that same energy, that same passion. What is it going on? What is it about today that is taking the passion away?
I would say I don't know what's different, but like all of us are from North Carolina.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when you really look at the way those teams were comprised, it was homegrown guys. Like, we had some guys like Dale and those guys, Dale and Austin from DMV, a few from Virginia, a couple from South Carolina.
Right.
But honestly, we were a North Carolina team. And it was personal. And then I don't know, man. I think part of that is the recruiting profile in terms of like, man, I remember on the visits, man, like I remember the prospective guys coming in. We talking trash to them right away.
Right away.
Man, you going for, man, I can't wait for you to get up here.
Right.
I can't wait. Like, so it was on and pulling people's cars and doing that. So to me, that's what it's about. And I think if they get back to that competitive nature, that kind of blue collar mindset where, hey man, we're gonna get it up out of it. It's too sweet right now, Jimmy.
Get it. It's too sweet.
I think we got to take him out of that sweet locker room. We got to put him down somewhere and
get in that mud. Get in that
You
mud. You know what I'm saying? You got to get it out. I mean, I just want, when I go down on that field, when I visit Carolina and they're on the field and I don't hear a peep and nobody's saying anything.
No roll call.
Like, they don't know nothing about no roll call, dog.
Roll call. Like,
I mean, come on. Like, that's the thing. I'm like, I hope that comes back. I hope that culture comes back. I hope the Belichick is going to give them a lot of energy because they're going to know they're prepared. When you know you're prepared, you have a lot of energy because you know you can win because you're prepared. But I just wanted to say that right quick because we got to get that back.
Well, I think the funny thing
Go
in
ahead.
talking to Mike Lombardi a little bit, we text a little bit, and I think that's definitely coming back. And I do believe them when they talk about them feeling like Carolina was a sleeping giant. I've always felt like that.
Me too.
And
Right.
people can laugh and kiki about Belichick and
All
his
they want.
age and why would he do it, but you played for him.
Right.
I've watched him and how he built it. Hey man, it ain't gonna be no games. Like we talk about structure and discipline and not beating ourselves. They're gonna do that. And so
That's one thing we're not going to do is beat ourselves anymore. Right.
Yeah.
We're not going to beat ourselves anymore. And that's the key. We've had a lot of beating ourselves, especially in the fourth quarter. Right. Especially in the fourth quarter. Sometimes we give it away in the first quarter. Right. And a lot of it's on the defensive side of the ball, but that's not going to happen anymore. It's going to be structure. You're going to have discipline to be on the field. If you're not disciplined, you're not going to be out there. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'd just say. But go ahead, Wall.
No, it works out perfect because basically my question I was going to ask next was, with your Carolina experience, talk about the bond you had in school and the bonds you have now. And Bucky he blew that out the water, that question. So, that question is really for you now because I didn't even have to ask it. But, that's just that some people would call it ESPN, but we'll say ESP. On this one, is talk about your bond with the boys when we were in school and then now out.
Man, it is incredible, Walt. As you know, we have a huge group text that guys from different classes are in. And so it's amazing. You know what I mean? A lot of times you don't value that, or I should say that you don't understand the importance of those relationships.
Right.
Until, you get more mature, more older, if you would. But I would say this, I was moving around as you guys saw a while ago, but I was listening to the question, Hitch, that you asked about, that dog, if you would.
Right.
And you guys, man, epitomize that for me and for a lot of us at Carolina. Hitch, you was one of the hardest hitting ones out there, man, in the country.
Don't gas him up. Don't do it. Listen, defense.
Please
I
don't
know
gas
you're on the
him up.
defensive
That's
side
the last
of the ball,
thing we
but
need.
don't be gassing him up. Don't do it.
Hey,
when we
keep it coming.
Bucky,
Keep it coming.
Yeah, keep it coming. But Bucky, you guys, you mentioned the roll call, man. I caught on to that and really appreciated that and took pride in that. You know what I mean? And Wall, man, we played USC, and Wall, you already know what the play I'm going to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah.
We go out there and play them out there. I'm redshirt, so I'm not even going to be on the field. But Wall comes around on a reverse, dude, and hit one of their, was it a safety that you knocked out?
Yeah.
And I mean, wow, and ran him.
Broke his arm.
So you guys really did a great job, man, of setting that tone at Carolina that stuck around there for a long time. Definitely all of my 5 years there. So a lot of that Hitch, in my opinion, man, you need the right class of people to come through that thing and set that tone, and then it becomes contagious. And that's what I think needs to happen. And hopefully, like you said, with Belichick, that will be happening in the near future.
All right, you ready to go back then? You ready to go back and take that defensive line? Sound like a plan.
Hey, well, you know what? We can't. Yeah, well,
never can't count it out.
I can't let that. Yeah, well, I can't talk too much about that. But let's change the subject. I don't want to mess.
Okay,
fair enough.
Wow.
Fair enough.
Well, it ain't.
Mark got ESP. He got
Listen,
ESP.
This head ain't big for no reason.
Wow, you just took that one out the ether. That was awesome. That was awesome. Well, that's good, man. But I just want to we're gonna have about 2-3 more questions, and of course, I want you guys to be thinking about your craziest moment or funniest story at Carolina. So think about that one while I ask these these few
I
questions?
already got that one loaded up.
I bet you do. I bet
that
you got
one
plenty. You got plenty. You
I got
probably
one
got
loaded
plenty
up.
for days. But we don't want to get you in trouble. But
No. Clean.
Yeah.
we want to
You are
hear.
on TV, Bucky.
This ain't got nothing to do with the
It ain't
Peach
got nothing to do with
Bowl
that.
and
It's
Cheetah.
straight-
None of that.
It's PG.
This is a
Okay,
clean
it's
one.
straight PG.
Did you hear him say cheaters?
Okay. But the one thing that I would ask from you, Buck, because the national championship game is coming up soon, and I know you do evaluation on players, and that's what you specialize in, I think, right? Is that you evaluating players coming out of college and doing the draft? Who are the guys on these teams that you're kind of keen on, interested in seeing, and the guys that are going to be the top guys that come out of this class?
So it's crazy, right, for both of those teams, right? So everyone would tell you that Ohio State is loaded, right? And they are loaded with like future pros. But the crazy thing is their best players are their youngest players. So the receiver, Jeremiah Smith, that everyone is talking about, who went bananas the first 2 rounds, he is the dude. I mean, but he's also a guy that was a state hurdle champion in Florida. So the speed is real. There are a couple other pass catchers that can get it done. Travion Henderson, the running back, is good. And the crazy thing is Josh Downs' younger brother, Caleb Downs, who, look, he goes from Alabama to Ohio State, and he's a difference maker in the backfield. And when I look at that team is built like a pro team in terms of like the speed, the talent, and those things. But what I'm going to say about Notre Dame knows who they are. And what Marcus Freeman has done is he has taken the polish that they've had, but added a little edge in the dog. So while we can respect them for being like scholars and all that through the week, when they line up to play on Saturdays, they got an edge to them. And I think the common denominator that you'll see between these two teams and the teams that are in the tournament, big, fast, physical. And Belichick said this, and Nick Saban stole it from him. There's a reason why you don't put middleweights in the ring with heavyweights. When you look at those teams on Monday, when you look at the size, they're heavyweights. When you look at Notre Dame's offensive line, their defensive line, their wideouts, man, they are big, they're physical. And so for me, it's the prototypes. And so these guys that get drafted, but as a Carolina guy, I'm looking at our team and saying, we got to find a way to build our team like that. Because if we're not built like that, we ain't got no shot to deal with them.
Exactly. And that's what we were talking about before. We were talking about the last podcast. We were talking that we could kind of see us developing a team sort of like Notre Dame, right?
100%.
Right.
That's who we should be.
Right. Knowing where to go, knowing where to be, knowing where we, it's knowing our assignments, getting smart guys playing in position, making sure you don't make any mistakes. Yeah, if we get a team like that, we can be very competitive in this, especially in the ACC. Right. So that's how we were kind of formulating in our minds that we could possibly be a team similar to Notre Dame and take the ACC with that approach. Right. And I would go to you, Greg, and ask you the question of, as far as your coaching, when you were coaching at Dallas and you were coaching these guys that was coming in from college and trying to turn them into pros, what was your biggest obstacles to getting them from college mentality to the pro mindset?
Well, understanding the importance of being a pro, right? Because you have so many rules at the pro level for as how long guys can practice, how many padded practices you can have, all of that kind of stuff, right? And so understanding the importance of getting reps. Now, not just getting regular practice reps, because anybody can get those, but you have to stress to the young guys, hey, man, when you're standing on the sideline, pay attention, and you're still getting a mental rep. Right. That part of it right there is critical because, and I would tell the young guys, it's like, look, St. College, man, we don't get but a certain amount of hours that we are allowed to even be around you guys, right? And so you have to get mental reps. I would tell the defensive ends, right? That's who I was mainly coaching. I would tell them, man, hey, you got to be getting reps even when we're not practicing, meaning like when you laying at home in your bed, I need you to be thinking about, lining up, offensive lineman is blocking you, double hand punching offensive lineman or engulfing offensive lineman, how are you going to handle that guy? So see yourself getting those mental reps, even when we're not in practice. And so that's the thing that you have to get young guys to understand, right? To understand, take the game to the mental level. And you have to do that if you want to have a chance to have a long career in the NFL.
Absolutely. The way that I was able to stick around is by studying. I had no ACLs, obviously, and played for 8 years in the NFL with no ACLs. But the thing that kept me around was my study habits. I was able to kind of pick off passes because I was able to study the quarterback and understand what he was going to do, and the receivers as well. But I'll turn it over to you, Mark, and you can finish out. We're not going to hold you guys all night long, but we love to. You know what I'm saying? We love seeing you guys. We love having you guys back on because I want the people, the players that's coming through now, if they watch this podcast to see, we still have that passion.
Yeah,
we still have that brotherhood and that passion that if we could play today, we would bring it the same, bring it the way we brought it. You know what I'm saying? If we could play.
Just make sure my insurance policy's paid up because after two of them go routes.
Some blowouts, straight blowouts, some straight hamstring blowouts.
Doc D, come get me. Doc D, come get me.
Yes,
make sure our insurance is paid up.
Blowouts, bro. I can't even make it 10 yards. But I'm saying the intensity is still here.
Right.
Even looking back on it.
Mm-hmm.
We want that intensity in that locker room. We want that intensity on the field with the Carolina program, right? So, Mark, you go ahead and close it out with the questions that we always close it out with, which is,
what is your craziest or funniest moment, at Carolina?
Yeah.
All right,
go ahead, Buck.
So this, unfortunately, I'm gonna blame you, Wall, because I feel like you put.
Oh, this is going back to Wall.
I feel like you put the battery pack in my back. So,
oh my! Wait a minute. Am I older or younger than you? Wait.
No, I feel like because you were always the hype man that could get me going. Buck, we got to get the party started. Buck, we got to get this thing going. Buck, take your helmet off.
Yes,
Buck,
sir.
show them. Let them know. Let them know what it is. And so, the funniest moment is we playing Clemson. Clemson had just got beaten by Wake Forest the week before we played us.
Right.
They got beat 35-7. We're going down to Death Valley. And I remember us saying, oh, this is the time. So Hitch, we run out. I'm the first one out to the bottom of the hill.
I remember that.
Telling them, come on down.
Come on down.
Come on down and get this
I remember
tail
that.
kicking we got for you. Come on down and get this tail kicking. I've been waiting all day. And Hitch, they ran down the hill. In three plays in the game, they knocked Natron out.
Yeah.
Because Coach Brown decided we're gonna show them how tough we are. We're gonna run it 3 straight times. Okay. First and 10, second and 13, third and 15 punt. and I never, of all the whoopings that I took,
that was a bad one, bro.
Boy, they put belt the tail on us that day.
Yes, sir. Ed McDaniel was on that team. I remember that was like
they did.
Ed McDaniels was on that team, boy. He was a bad boy. I'm telling you.
And it's Marcus Wall's fault.
That is a true story.
And he was like, "You can do that." And so I ran
I was right there with him, Hitch.
Right there at the bottom of the hill. I remember that, man. Y'all crazy standing over there. I was like, these dudes tripping.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. That was hilarious.
That is a true story.
That's a true story.
So that's one. And then the other one is, I cannot remember where we were. Was it Wake Forest when I took my helmet off?
Yes.
Was it Wake Forest? So I told them dudes in the wide receiver room, if I get one,
if you got one,
we just watched Miami go crazy the week before. I'm taking my helmet off. And so I catch the post and I can't get the snaps off. I'm trying to get the snaps off, and then I take it off, and I'm looking around, and I come to the sideline, and Coach Brown is going crazy.
Lost
He's
it.
going so crazy he can't talk. He's like, so
oh my God.
He busses me out.
Hilarious.
And then you remember you had to pick up the phone. So then Coach Cav gets me on the phone. I go, and look, he's so mad, he just slobber in and spit is just flying all over the place. And I hang up the phone. And so I hang up the phone, and Wall and those guys are there. And Wall and them was like, all right. All right, dog. That was all right. You took one for the team. That was all right. That was all right.
Wall was gonna hype it up, boy. Wall was gonna hype that thing up, boy. Oh my goodness, Wall was gonna hype that thing up, boy. Boy. Oh my God.
Oh
okay,
my
G,
God.
give me one.
Man, brother, I don't have anything as entertaining as Buck does.
Oh, Buck, tell it.
Yeah, dude, I'm trying to think
Got
of
me
something.
crying, boy.
Let me see. And I promise you guys, I was trying to think what Buck was telling his, but nothing really came to mind.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
You know what, G, it's not your fault, man, because like, man, you did it by the book. All you guys, you and Corey Holiday and all of them.
Yeah, y'all did it by the book,
man.
Y'all did it by the book. And that's why y'all's names in lights.
Student
That's why y'all in the stadium and all that. I didn't
that's
do
why
that.
you're the Hall of Fame. That's why you're in the
know.
Hall of Fame in North Carolina.
Yeah.
That's why you're in the Hall of Fame. You probably gonna make the Hall of Fame in the NFL. Hey, you did it the right way, G. I mean, it's not. You don't be ashamed. You ain't got no stories to tell.
Listen, he didn't toe the line. He was all the way in the good side.
Yes.
Hey, but I tell you one funny thing, man. One funny thing that the guys always get on me about was, and I don't know if you. I think no, Walt. Yeah, Walt. I know you were still there. I think. And so when Brian Simmons and them found out our second year that Sean Boyd and myself
were roommates.
Were roommates.
Oh Lord!
Polar opposites.
Poor G.
Oh Lord! Man, the guys used to always talk about.
Oh my God! Ooh,
yes,
that's
funny. That's funny right there in and of itself.
Hey,
correct. For Greg Ellis.
That was some eye-opening stuff.
Rocking to sleep.
You understand what I'm saying?
To say the least.
It's not talked about on the show. I can tell you that much. It was very, very, very. Very
yeah, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that roommate situation right there.
Listen.
Oh, Greg got baptized. He got baptized.
To me, Sean's a good brother, man. Y'all know how wild how he used to get down. So
yes,
it
sir.
it was very, very interesting.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Hey, but Greg, do you know the thing about that was Coach Brown put him with you, so hopefully he can learn from you.
Right.
Yeah.
Have Boyd ever told you that story?
No, somebody else told me that story. I forgot who.
Okay, yeah, but it's a true story. He was like, "No, I need you and
boy,
Greg
y'all
have to
crazy.
yeah, because you need some help." So you go.
Yeah. I wish I could tell y'all stuff that was going on, but
no, we good.
No. We don't need to hear it. No.
This is a PG program.
We already know. We don't need to hear it.
PG program, bro. It's a PG program. We can't.
Oh my God.
We can't take those stories on there. We're gonna get demonetized on YouTube, bro.
Yeah, you're right. Seriously, they might put us in jail.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Man, but I really do appreciate you guys coming, man. Greg Ellis, Bucky Brooks. Hopefully we can have you on again, Buck, right before the Super Bowl. We can talk about some other things, talk about that. Greg, you're doing great things, incredible things, especially with the mental health thing. We're gonna come back and we're gonna revisit that. All right?
Okay, appreciate it.
Definitely gonna revisit that. We want to get a deep dive into that. Mark, you got something to say?
Hey man, obviously I appreciate you all. You're definitely brothers, and we'll be out from here.
No doubt. Don't forget to subscribe hit the bell, get the notifications for when this content comes on. It comes right to you.
Oh, wait,
Hitch
let me
and
do the infomercial. Wait.
Okay,
Here we go.
Go ahead. Do the infomercial.
Like, subscribe, and share.
Like,